Hello, I'm Hannah from CS department. I've, I've come here to record the fifth program of my web tech. So the fifth experiment contains about the JavaScript. As we know, we have the similar syntax of the Java, so we have the same thing even in the JavaScript also. So we'll have a functions, we'll have the same on-click buttons, and we have to split a string and all. The first question is about finding the string length and to display the longest word, the smallest word, the number of words, the length of the words and all. So I'm actually writing the HTML code in my body. So I'm using all the form elements that I'm putting a text box so that I could put the value inside and get the value in my JavaScript. And I'm using a button which will have an on-click function where I can retrieve the function in my JavaScript, and then I'm giving a division tag for the counting the number of length of the words, longest word and the smallest word and all. And the second question is um, about the you have to grade the marks to the percentage. If I give a number, for example, if I give 80, I actually want to grade for that. So I've given the same form elements inside with a text box and a button. And then third question is to generate a pattern. So for this, you'll be using a function called random math, where it will have the matrix formula and will calculate the number of rows and columns that you've entered. And I want the pictures to be displayed in a randomly. So that's why I have used pattern design. And the fourth one is to design a calculator. So this calculator will contain converting the value from pounds to kilograms and kilograms to pounds. And I've given an on-click function even for that. And the next one is to display some radio buttons for a pizza, and then to calculate the amount. So like when I select for a medium and so much value, and I want the value of cost to be changing. So this is my HTML program for it, and these are my form elements. And now I've given the JavaScript function for each and everything separately. So this function, first one is for the splitting of number of words in my sentence. So first I have declared a variable which this document.getElementById by ID is actually a function kind of thing, where you can get the value of a text by giving the element ID. So my text box, as I've already given the HTML code out here, I've given a text ID here. So this ID can be passed inside this document dot get element by ID. Then I'm using another variable called split, where there's a function called split function. Instead that I'm giving double quotes with null. So whatever I type, it should actually split. And then into another variable, I'm putting this split dot length. So I want the length of the sentence which I've given and which is being splitted already. And then another one, document.getElement. So this word num is already given there. Like we gave different division tags, right, to find all the numbers. So I'm giving the ID, and inner HTML is to display in the same page and the number of words and plus the number. So this variable will be passed here for the output. And my second one, I have a array. Inside my array, I have a lot of words, right? So I want all the words to be counted, and I want the length of all the words. So first word of numbers, I'll get the number of words, and split of length, I get the number of I'll get the number of each words inside that. So I'm giving a for loop, and where the numbers will be counted, and I'll have a iteration which will be going, and this variable will be passed to I, and then I'll split this iteration and dot length, so it will be displayed. And I have another variable to find the maximum and the minimum. For that, I'm using a for loop, where I have my so if my number 2 of j is less than minimum, and then I'll have the value to be displayed. And similarly, when it's greater than the max, I'll have the value to be displayed for the maximum. And finally, to find the length, I'm having the ID and all. So I'm giving the ID for the long and the shortest and all, and then I'm giving the length of words and what we have passed. Number 2 is this splitting length will be passed, and longest maximum index will be passed. This variable will be passed, and minimum index, this variable will be passed for that. And the next one, I have a calculation function. As I told, if I want to type any number, I actually want a grade to be graded. So I'm passing a variable where it is a pass float. So normally when I give pass float, the content whatever I give into my text box will be taken as an integer. So this marks is the ID of the input tag that I've given for the text box to enter a mark, and I'm giving a if else loop where if my mark is 95, I want this grade. If my mark is between 95 to 90, I want this grade. So similarly, I've given for all, and then I've passed the grade into the get element by ID in this score ID tag that will be unique for the reference, and it will be displayed on the same page as the inner HTML function is being given there. And this third design is, as I told, like I want to design a pattern where I enter a number of columns, and using the matrix formula you'll be getting the pictures displayed randomly. So I have two variables, one is for the row and one is for the column, and if the ID has been passed as we have already given the ID in the input tag. And we have another array which has both the pictures, and after this okay, I have a for loops. I have two for loops, one is outer and the inner for loop, and that's where I already mentioned I have to use a function called mat floor and mat random. So this function will actually multiply using the matrix formula of row and column, and will let you display. And we have called the ID for what we have given for the pictures, and I've given the pictures into the get element ID tag, and then this will be displayed. And the fourth one is to convert the kilograms into pounds. So and we are getting the value from the ID from the text box from and to, and then I have something called f index and t index, that's my variable name. And so if these both are equal, my answer will be displayed, and if it is equal to 0, then I'll have the data into so much. So if I want to get a kilogram, I want my pound value to be multiplied into some decimal value. So this has been already set default. And if I want a pound value, my data could be multiplied into another value, which is also a default value. And finally, to display a radio button using to calculate the rate. So as I said, we are going to do for pizza. So we have a same variable, and I have something called a query selector. A query selector will help you, will make you help with a tip, which, so when you check that, the value will be getting. So we'll be normally using the document.getElementID to get the value from a text box, but from a radio box we can only get the value using a query selector. So we are using it, and I'm using another variable called tags, where the size will be, so this is all my own calculations, where if so much money or size is being given, I want the value the user selected should be multiplied by this, and all this should be added together, and I'll have the display here. So like this is the JavaScript. So this JavaScript code is totally over. So now let's see the output of it. So I've actually used a field set. So it will come in a box, so which will really look good. So I will, and to check the length of a string, so I'm giving, for example, a word called localhost. Check the button on click will work, and I'll have the number of words. That is, I have 2 words. Length of the words is 5 and 4, and the longest and the shortest. Grade. If I give, for example, 45, I'll have the grade for it. If I have a grade of 90, and I'll have the grade for it. And pattern generator. As I told, the math random will work out according to the matrix. So I'm giving 3, 3 as my column. I'll have my pictures randomly shuffled and mixed up. And what if I give a value of 23, which is from pounds to kilograms? So it will be calculated. So it's like 10 kilograms if I give 23 pounds. If I give 40 kilograms and I want this to a pound, and that will be calculated. And as I said, we have a query selector for my we have a query selector for a radio button, and once I select something, the query will select it, and I have a 10 rupees of tip, as I have already mentioned in my calculation. When I give calculate order, the old size and the tips and the amount will totally get added, and everything will be calculated and displayed. So this is the end of my program, and finally we'll be hosting it in a web hoster where like everyone can see, and my ID will be given and my website will be given, so one can see it. So thank you so much for watching my video.